Hello, everyone. We'll try and make this fun as I know everyone's ready for lunch. So what I'm talking about and what Operative came to me as a question is, why are partnerships important? And it's not a simple question. It seems simple, but I think you have to look at it from multiple perspectives, right? Because there's a demand side and there's a supply side. And the reasoning or the benefits of that partnership varies depending on what bucket you fall into. So I'm looking at it from the lens of NBC Universal as a demand side partner. And what does that mean? That the partners we work with are supplying us impressions. So probably the most apparent reason for a partnership is that you're extending your reach, right? The more platforms your content is delivering on, the more impressions you're going to get and the more revenue you're going to bring in. Another valuable piece is exposure to new audiences. So I think a great example of this is during the Olympics, NBC partnered with Snapchat to curate custom content with the Olympic athletes. And we delivered 40 million impressions to that content. And the audience was 90% of the audience was under 35 years old. So that's a completely different audience than what broadcast network we're seeing for Olympic content. These partners generally have better data. So we have a partnership with Apple News where we're the exclusive reseller of the newsfeed. We gain access to people's iTunes preferences, what apps they're downloading, so it just makes it that much easier for us to target specific consumers. And what I think is the most exciting, speaking from a traditional media publisher, is that these partnerships allow us to be more creative, right? We're kind of limited to long-form content, and this gives us an outlet to work with, say, a more hip, younger, social platform. And a good example was announced last week that NBC partnered with Refinery 29, and we are working to create editorials featuring strong female athletes called On Her Turf. So that doesn't really make sense on an NBC Sports network or even on NBCSports.com, but on a Refinery 29 that's geared toward that millennial audience, it just makes perfect sense. But partnerships cause headaches. When two different companies are coming together, there's obviously a difference in systems, which then lead to a ton of out-of-system work. Plans are being built in Excel, emailed over throughout the entire negotiation process. Creative sharing is happening in Google Docs or tag macros. All communication is essentially via email or via phone. So an inventory request is coming out. You're shooting an email to the inventory team of your partner. Same thing for in-flight optimizations. It's an email that's asking someone to do this. There's dual entry because the demand side needs the order built in, for our case, Operative, because that's where we're billing, that's where we're tracking budgets. But the demand side has to build it in their respective system also, whether that's Operative or their ad server, it needs to be built in order to execute. And there's just a latency and lack of reporting. So the supply side has to manually pull primary delivery from their ad server, email it back over to the demand, and then there's no record of the SLAs or how long it actually took to get this order to go live, because it's just email, phone calls. So we identified this as a problem, and you might find a common theme here is that automation is the best way to improve this process. So we really have two options. You can do an integration with Operative and the ad server of the partner you're working with. We did do this with Apple News. The integration we built is probably the better of the ad server integrations that we have, but it took almost a year. It cost money. It's not necessarily scalable when you want to bring on more and more partners. So the option that we are now embracing is what Jason referred to earlier, is Connect. So what is Connect? So Connect automates the access to inventory and data. So the supply side avails are exposed to the demand side via a quick ping in the system that says, can you calculate the avails for me? Instead of having to send an email out to your partner. The demand side is building the orders in their instance of operative and can actually just push that order directly into the partner's order management system. Right now we have this in place with BuzzFeed, one of our partners. So they actually use operative too, so it's literally just an operative to operative push. And first-party delivery, which is actually really important for us to pull in systematically, happens on a daily basis because the integration and the hooks are there. Connect is also like a communication UI almost, where you can use a chat mode functionality and just ping back and forth to your partner. There are notes, there's attachments, and it could even be a way to actually exchange creative also. And it does serve the purpose as an audit log. So you know how many times you had to tweak an order, what were the problems, and just try and learn from it. The setup of Connect is actually pretty simple. There's a one-time mapping that has to happen between the publisher's advertiser names and the operative master list. And this is really configuration back-end work that the business doesn't necessarily know or need to be involved in. And then the other part is, per partner, you have to do a mapping of products, of operative products. So what NBC is booking has to line up to what BuzzFeed is actually offering and delivering to. We have a quick screenshot. The background is the product mapping module, which I know it's probably hard to kind of say, but this is more back-end configuration, system support that would then do the initial mapping between the partners. And then the screenshot in the foreground is the Connect UI. So a partner can actually respond to a proposal and say, you asked for 1 million impressions, I actually only want to give you 500,000. And that goes back to the demand side where they see what that change is and either make that change or call and renegotiate. So Connect has really been a way to automate the process and allow us to scale and bring on more and more partners very quickly and efficiently. So as I said, we currently have this in place with BuzzFeed, and we're looking to continue with future partners. But to that point, and again, to what Jason alluded to, we want to leverage Connect to create what we're calling a digital EDI. So on the TV side of house, EDI has been a concept for like ever, and it stands for electronic data interchange, which sounds old. But it automates the process of getting plan details out of the publisher, the TV publisher's order management system, and sends it directly to the agency system. The digital proposal workflow is not as simple, but it really should be, and there's no reason it can't be. We've done an assessment of how much time planners are spending doing their day-to-day jobs versus the TV planners, and it's at a minimum 5 times more time per week just to get reporting, plans built, and then optimization. So if you look at what planners are doing right now, and this might be specific to NBC, but there are agency templates that are in Excel that the planner is building a media plan, sending it over to the agency, and that's really the tool that we're negotiating from that just keeps getting revised throughout the process. They're also responsible for building the media plan in operative, and that's to actually execute the order. And in some cases, they're actually logging into Prisma for sellers and rebuilding that media plan in that system as well for the agency. So they have their hands in 3 different systems, and what we're looking to do is leverage Connect to really be that intermediary that just pushes that data between the publisher system and the agency system. Yeah, I mean, as Jason said, like we're in like early stages. We've been working closely with the operative team to try and figure out what we want this workflow to look like. I think we're at a good place, and over the next couple of weeks, hopefully we'll be making some traction. All right.
This wasn't our idea. That was yours.
Thank you, Jason. All right, that's all I have.
Great work.
Happy to answer questions.